Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Live from the virtual Hockenheimring just outside of Hockenheim, Germany. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome along to Apex Racing TV and our live coverage of the iRacing Israel League. Dane Baird here, bringing you the action for rounds 3 and 4 in the championship alongside Tim Cox, with John Robertson up in the production booth. And Tim, well, welcome to Hockenheimring. How are you feeling ahead of today's races?
Really looking forward to this one. We saw the season opener last 2 weeks ago, in fact, now at Watkins Glen. This championship is packed full to the brim with excitement, drama and action, from the green flag flying right through to the checkered flag, and I'm sure it's going to be no different here at Hockenheim.
Yep, definitely. Touring cars do lend themselves to good racing. We've got the 4 TCR classes out there, or 4 TCR cars in that class out there at the moment. We've got a couple of Hyundais, the Honda and the Audi RS3 LMS as well. So it's good to see a couple of drivers taking different approaches with their car choice. As qualifying is just underway, they're going to get 2 laps of quali, and then we're going to go into 2 15-lap races to figure out who's going to get some points ahead of the championship. Yeah, 2 races tonight. Should be a good one. Very interesting circuit, Hockenheimring. It's had a bunch of different changes made to it over the years. It started off as what is essentially a triangle in 1930s. And yeah, loads of modifications made, the most recent being in 2002, where we have what we've got today. First thing first, Tim, that hairpin, turn 4, it's going to be a tricky one for the drivers to navigate on the first couple of laps.
Yeah, we were talking about it before the show, and it's, well, it's so tricky. When you make a lunge up the inside, it can actually hamper you a bit on acceleration, because the outside line tends to carry a lot more momentum and you carry a lot more speed through it. I ironically named Spetzker, which translates from German into English as switchback, and really defines that corner. But it is a big braking area as you come through Parabolica. I expect to see plenty of action on the opening lap, where we've got the field tightly compacted, everyone coming at full chat down to it, cold tyres playing a part, cold brakes even to an extent, because other than Eintracht Parabolica, it's turn 2, it's the first major big braking area, and well, it's going to be interesting to see who can hold it together to come out the other side ahead of the car in front of them, or even just ensure that they've kept hold of the lead. I mean, it's going to be so crucial.
Yeah, it definitely is. The first few laps are going to determine quite a chunk of the race, but these touring cars, they do race really, really well. Just having a look at a couple of the drivers on the timing sheets just to see who's turned up for today's event, and missing a couple of the drivers you'd expect to see up at the front, but up at the front, not really massively surprisingly, is Ruven Chachashvili at the moment in qualifying. His best lap time at the moment, 1:48.8. That's a good, what, half a second over Yaroslav Malkov in second. So Ruven doing really well the last time that we saw the iRacing Israel League on Apex Racing TV a couple of seasons ago. And no surprise to see him back up at the front. A couple of other drivers out there as well. Just have a look at Toma Ventura, currently just sitting at the bottom of the top 10, just in 9th position with a 1:50.48. Currently on his second time lap, going around the final couple of corners. We'll see if he can try and improve that finish line now. We'll see what sort of lap time he can do. 1:50.48, 1:50.22 is Toma Ventura's lap time for a second time lap. It's not enough to get him any places, but should maybe try and help him not lose too many spots from other drivers behind gaining on him. Looks like most of the drivers will finish there both laps.
You mentioned Ventura pulling out a 4/10 advantage there over Simon, who's tucked up right behind him, but they'll be showing in that 5th row of the grid as just waiting for the last few seconds of qualifying to tick over. And just having a little look here, Daniel Barber's out on track. I don't think he's going to quite get time to finish off that lap that he's on currently. Yeah, he's got about a 5th lap to go, and he's certainly not going to complete that in 15 seconds.
Yep, just a couple more seconds left to go then for them. Just trying to figure out where everyone's going to be. Oh, there he goes, off the circuit. Unceremoniously kicked off the circuit, and we're getting ready for the first race. The grid has been set. And Tim, why don't you take us through it?
Okay, so your grid is Chachashvili on pole with Malkov joining him on the front row. Marisha Cerulli on the second row of the grid with Mashulam and Gabay making up your 3rd row. Then it's Yaron and Chico with Ventura and Simon taking up to 10th place. Then Gaili and Bashar in 11th and 12th with Mizari and Zubrev up to 14th place. On the 10th row of the grid is Abarov and Portman with Stern and Leshez, Mazurs and Last taking up to 20th place, and certainly definitely last by lane, but certainly not by nature. They're completing that the last row of the grid. On the 11th row is Baba and Isaac making up that row.
It's going to be an interesting first couple of corners, that's for sure. As we take a look at the drivers all lined up, it's going to be a standing start. And what I've been told is that the Audi seems to have a little bit of an advantage off of standing start. So that's something to take into account as we look at some of the drivers a little bit further back. Might be able to make quite a few paces up. The only couple of Audis that we've got, Nir Mizrahi in 13th place and Leon Portman in 16th. So they'll be looking to make up a couple places off at the start of the race.
The Audi is so fast starting, it's definitely going to be one to watch out for. Here come the lights.
Here they come indeed. We're getting ready to go for the 3rd race of the season, the first here at the Hockenheimring. And we are green at the Hockenheimring. It looks like a pretty decent start from our pole sitter, Ruven Chachashvili. He's going to easily make it in towards turn number 1 in front of Yaroslav Malkov. They're going 4 wide in the background, a little bit further back. They all have to sort of file their way through there. It tightens up massively. We've got an Audi around just about keeping it going in a straight line. Honda Civic in the background as well. I believe that's Madi Bakar who's dropped all the way back. And the Hyundai of Draw Last as well, who has unfortunately dropped all the way back to the back of the pack as they're going 3 wide now in towards turn number 2. Heading onto the back straight. This is one of the most important traction zones of the entire circuit, because that speed you're going to carry all the way down now through the parabolica, through the long left-hander. As we take a look at Amir Meshlam and Cerulli now trying to make their way through in towards the hairpin. We've got Amir Meshlam trying to make it 3 wide almost as they make their way into the hairpin. He's going to send it up the inside but has to back out. Not quite enough space there. Oh, and it's really wide for a couple of the Hyundais as well as they make their way through for the first time. Really tricky to stay within that track limits, and we're seeing that already here.
I tell you what, Baba, the Hyundai has made an absolute electric start. The perennial hot knife through better through all the carnage and chaos happening at turn 1 is already up 10 places, Dane, into 11th. An absolutely brilliant start from him.
Absolutely, and it looks like a bit of a gap has been taken out by Ruven Chachishvili, around about 2.5 seconds, but in second place, none of that. Yaroslav Malkov and Solui, they're going side by side now in towards the stadium section, and the car on the inside always going to be favoured here. There's some nice banking on that corner as well, just to help you put the power down and carry that speed through the corner. Tricky left-right hit. You don't want to hit that second apex, but you want to extend all the way as far wide as you can to open up these final couple of corners, gain as much speed as you can. Coming across the line for the first time in this race to start lap number 2, Ruven Chachishvili. He's got a massive advantage behind him, 3.5 seconds almost, as he eats up all the curb on the inside through into turn number 1.
That does indeed, and he's already pulled out a just over 3 second advantage over Malkov in second place. And see, in fourth, we've got this big long train that's really starting to stack up and start to trip over one another. One high on the Honda Civic side part of Meshulam. The Hondas are incredibly quick in the straight line, the strongest of all of the touring cars. Let's see what he can do down into Spetskurve as they're all jockeying for position here, Dane. If they're not careful, this could end in disaster.
Big wreck, and that's going to be Meshulam out as well. Meshulam, I think. That's an Rai dropping back in the background as well, but big contact there, just getting to the back of Amir, I believe, and it's all gone wrong for them. Into the wall on the outside and well off into the runoff area. And Meshulam, unsurprisingly, he's towed back into the pit lane. That is going to be pretty much his competitive racing over for the first race. Luckily, there is a second race, so we can try and get some redemption back on that one. But huge contact being made into the hairpin on the second time of asking.
So there was a further incident there. He just about caught it there. New driver's caught up in that. Mazzari, you see him there in that.
Another one.
Car. Wow. A big
all
incident.
kicked off.
It certainly did, and we already, picked out that corner as being a hotbed for action, and it's certainly not failing to deliver.
Tight racing we're seeing right now. It's Michael Simon. 2 Honda Civic cars. It's Michael Simon and John Chico battling out as they make their way across the start-finish line. They're going to start lap number 3 and head back into single file for turn number 1. Really difficult to go side by side through there. Is all the car in front, the number 13, John Chico. He makes a mistake. He harsh defends the inside. Michael Simon has to swerve to the outside to get alongside and avoid ramming into the back of him. They're going to go around the outside now in towards turns 2 and 3. And it's Michael Simon who just has to back out for the time being. But watch out, because here comes Nadav Yaron just behind as well in the Hyundai. He's going to go to the inside for Parabolica. Michael Simon's stuck around the outside, and they're going to possibly be going 3 wide here, because look at the draft speed that they've got now. They are going to go 3 wide in towards the hairpin. Who's going to back out first? None of them are backing out as they make their way into the hairpin. 3 into 1 doesn't fit, guys. Someone's got to back out eventually. There's a bit of contact, and then eventually they're still side by side. Finally, they get into single file, and no positions change. John Chico still in 5th place. Michael Simon still in 6th. Now trying to look to the outside for the right-hander here, trying to send it down the inside into the Mercedes arena. More harsh defending by John Chico. This is brilliant.
It is absolutely epic action out on track, and this is what's going to come tricky here, Dave, because where you've got drivers tripping up over one another, yes, you might want to attack the car in front of you, but you need to be so careful of what's happening behind you, because you could well end up losing a place from someone following another driver through. And we enter into the arena here. Wow, the 2 Hyundai Elantras absolutely all over the top of one another right now, and there's contact further as they head out of the corner, and somehow they emerge as they were. Well, I say that, there's further contact again. Oh no, but that's all gone badly wrong there for Ventura after a great qualifying display. He's tumbling down through the order and nearly taken out by one of the Hondas heading through that. I think that was Isaac.
He just got stuck in the wrong gear there after the contact and couldn't quite get going again. Maybe even stalled over the line there. But let's see just what is happening in this race, because we've had all sorts of action in the first couple of laps. Things seem to have settled down slightly. We've still got a massive group of cars a bit further back, 13th, 14th, 15th, and 13th, 14th and 15th going at each other. But this is the closest battle we've got on the circuit. Lap car getting out of the way there. I believe that's Maddie Picard. As they now make their way in towards the hairpin again, side by side. There's again Chico on the inside, and again Simon on the outside. So I'm going to try and get the switch back. It's not going to be able to do it, but can he carry that speed and try and make something happen again into the Mercedes-Benz Arena? We're right on board with him now. Through the right-hander. Jockeying around, trying to feint an overtake. Goes to the outside again. He's hard on the brakes. He's maybe a bit too deep on the brakes. He's run a bit wide there. Lost a bit of time. Luckily for him, that gap behind him was about a second. It's now only half a second. They spread out ever so slightly. But I think this is not the last that we're going to see of that battle between Chico and Simon.
I don't think it is at all. And talking of battles, clearly here, stuck in a right royal battle with his fellow Hyundai driver, albeit in the Veloster, just ahead of him, Abramov. So he enter into the stadium section, but don't discredit Mazdas and that looming Honda right behind. And talking of Hondas, Isaac here, already up at now 11 places, make that 12, back up into 10th there with a great move, but this doesn't look like it's quite dirty and dusty with Isaac under all sorts of pressure from Ventura, who this time last lap had that big incident to that very section room right now, Superb.
Yep, absolutely, and managing to stick with him, that's always important stuff. If you're going to get overtaken, you just got to make sure that you're not going to get overtaken and drop back. You want to try and stick with them as much as possible, and sometimes that means backing off and taking a bit of a better line through the next corner. He's going to go for a send in towards turn number 2. Easily gets in front. Is he going to get the car stopped in time? I don't think he will. They're going to go side by side now through turn 3. As otherwise it has to have the outside line. And well, I thought that was a bit of too much of a send, but for Ventura, he's managed to make that one stick. Is he going to be able to keep the position through Parabolic and in towards the hairpin? That remains to be seen. The draft seeming to be very effective to this part of the circuit. You can already see the Civic having to go to the outside line now, as Ido Isaac trying to get back once more, side by side into the hairpin, and he has to back out of it.
A little bit surprised. Oh, he might potentially line himself up for a move on the switchback here. Isaac in prime position, carrying a lot more momentum there through Specs Curve Dane, and just had to, looks like he's just backed out of it a little bit. A little bit surprised he wasn't able to get the move done through Parabolica. The Honda Civic has a really good straight line speed compared to the other touring cars available on iRacing, so a little bit surprised that he elected just to sit behind Ventura. I mean, we've got plenty of racing left. We're a third of the way through, 5 laps out of 15, so maybe just electing just to sit back and watch what is going to unfold in front of him.
Have a look back at Michael Simon here. Still just on the back of Chico. Still trying to make their way past one another. They've still got those 2 cars just behind Yaron and the Bush now joining onto the back of this train. As in towards turn number 2 they go. Really close now. Simon could look to the inside. Gets once again huge block by John Chico. Simon goes to the outside and towards turn number 2. They're still going to go side by side, and Simon has to back out of that one. Might have had a better exit though. It's definitely going to have a better line through turn number 3. And look how close he is already, going down through Parabolica once again. Easily going to have enough speed to try and make something happen into the hairpin.
It's Honda versus Honda, and who's going to be the last of the late breakers between these two? Chico versus Simon. Going to take something a bit bold, a bit brave here, as Simon on the outside line going to look for the cut back, and looks like Chico just doing enough there potentially just to kill off the momentum of Simon. Looking for the switchback, but he's left himself vulnerable here, Dane, because Simon's going to have the inside line into Mercedes.
Finally has that inside line. Chico's blocked it off every single lap so far. He finally gets to the inside line, and Michael Simon up into that next position. And he's not going to be able to get a switch back this time. So Chico finally has to settle back behind Michael Simon. These 2 Honda drivers. It's giving us a very good showing, and Chico under pressure now from the driver just behind of Ariel de Bush, although de Bush is a lap down. But he's got to watch out. He's got to try not to lose too much time, because he has got Nadav Yaron just behind as well. That is for position, only a second gap.
He's picking up a slowdown there potentially, or just
yeah,
spot. Yeah, it must have been. The pace just disappeared off in the blink of an eye. I just think Chico might have been under a bit of under pressure. We saw him run wide through Sachs curve and managed to hold it all together, but I think he's got away. Well, he has got away with that one, and he's sort of closing stages of the race. It's what he can do now to catch back up to Simon, who's pulled out nearly just over 9/10 of a second gap, and both being Hondas, they're going to be evenly matched in terms of where they're stronger and where they're weaker at the setting part of the circuit. Talking about an even match, these two are having a right good go, I think, Salary and Gabay.
Yep, we used to seeing Yossi Gabay on the broadcast in his green car as always, as they're going to make their way down into Mercedes-Benz Arena as well. Gabay, of course, in that 17 car. This is the battle for third place at the moment. It's always sent up the inside, can't quite get it up alongside enough to make a move stick, but certainly enough to try and put off the driver of the 46 just in front of him. Has to wait another couple of corners though. Next overtaking opportunity that we've seen quite often that I wasn't expecting really heading into this race. Turn number 2 has been a really good pace for drivers to just send it up the inside or even around the outside. We've seen with Michael Simon and John Chico quite a fair bit.
With this being so wide and open, that section of the track, it really does invoke the ability to be creative with your lines and try different things, and ultimately it comes down to who's going to be the last of the late breakers into it and keep the car settled to make the corner. Normally comes out on top, but you do have to be careful because straight after it, that long run through Parabolica down to Spets curve, you can actually find yourself actually losing the place again. The car that you've just managed to get the pass done on. So sometimes it's actually better just to sit behind and wait, and then wait for Parabolica and just make sure you're tucked right up behind the car in front of you, just like we're seeing right now between these two Hyundais, and then have a big lunge down into Spets curve. What can Gabay do? 2/10. The gap is shrinking here, Dane. I'm expecting a big lunge on the braking. And here we go.
Oh, there it is. Oh, there it is. And I don't think he's going to be able to slow it down just in time. However, the 46 goes a bit deep into the corner. I think so did Yossi Gabay, and it's not going to work out for him that time. Only halfway through the race now, though, as they make their way halfway around lap number 8 of 15 here. As we'll see now. Oh, sorry, 15 minutes. So actually, the race is almost over. This might just be the penultimate lap for them. So that explains why everybody's racing each other quite as hard as they are. Yossi Gabay trying to get up into the third position.
Is really starting to run out of overtaking opportunities? This is one of them, barring a great big sending lunge into Sud curve. But I think this might well be done and dusted here. There you go.
Oh, he's blinking out a little bit.
He is. Certainly won't be helping Salary at all, like it with his nerves, but it looks like we're going to get one more lap and one more set of attempts as the white flag flies for them to try and get a move done here. And, well, I think watch out for Spetskev. This is where the fireworks are going to erupt between these two.
Yeah, Yossi Gabay just needs to try and get a good exit here. A little bit deep for Leon Levy just in front of him. So we'll see now. Needs a lot of draft, needs a big send into that hairpin. I don't think he's quite close enough to get alongside with the draft. He's going to have to rely on those brakes as they make their way through Parabolica for the final time in this race. The white flag was waved as they made their way across the start-finish line in towards the braking zone now. A little bit deep for Leon Levy, but I think he's just about going to be able to hold on to this one. He's got the run, Yossi Gabay, but I don't think it's enough. Make their way in towards Mercedes Arena for the final time in this first race, and you can see their gap is just too big for Yossi Gabay to make anything happen. Now it's all down to Leo Levy just to make sure he doesn't make any mistakes, doesn't give Yossi Gabay any opportunities to make a move for the rest of the lap, because it is fairly narrow down there and not too many overtaking opportunities. We take a little bit of a look further back. The battle for 4th and 5th. John Chico finding himself in a battle once again, this time with the Hyundai driver Naravian.
Into the Stadium Arena. You see Chashvili take the checkered flag here with what's been a real dominant display, Dane. 7.2 seconds clear of Malkov in second.
Yeah, massive, massive win there for Ruben Chachvili there. And honestly, I'm not massively surprised. He's really one of the fastest drivers in the iRacing Israel League community. And a couple of the other faster drivers not here today. Not surprising, because we've obviously just had the iRacing Nürburgring 24 hours over the weekend. I know that I saw Dorian Tabashnik over on the top split broadcast in the GT4 category a fair bit. So not too surprised they didn't just have the time or the energy after a 24-hour race at the Nürburgring to make it to this evening's event, as we've got a couple of cars parked right in front of the start-finish line. Not in the most helpful place, maybe a little bit worrying for some of the drivers, as almost everybody has made it to the line. Some good battles there in the touring cars. Absolutely love these cars to watch them race. They can make something happen almost anywhere.
They can. It's standard touring car action, really, isn't it? You know, the door banging, the wheel-to-wheel action, you know, not worrying about any broken suspension, and, well, it never fails to deliver at all, Dane.
It definitely does not. And now we get to see something that might be even better, because we've got heat results up on the screen now, and then we flip the top 10, and that's your grid for the second race. Ruben Chachvili, our race winner in race number 1, round 3 of the season. For round 4 of the season, he starts 10th. So we've got a couple of the quicker drivers now having to make their way back past all of the drivers that they finished just ahead of. And that means that we've got John Chico versus Michael Simon part 2 in this next race, as they'll be starting alongside each other on the 3rd row of the grid. As the lights are on, and we're actually already off and racing here in this race number 4 of the championship. Race number 2, Hockenheimring. There's a bit of contact. They're going 5 wide through turn number 1. Surely that's not going to work. There's a bit of contact earlier on. There's a lot of contact here, and we've already had a couple of drivers hard into the wall. That's Yossi Gabai involved, and he's going to come across the circuit, and he's going to cause chaos behind. Massive incident involving almost the entire grid, as we've only got maybe 7 or 8 cars that have got the way through. Loads of drivers involved in that one. Loads of them making their way into the pit lane as well. Huge incident at the beginning of this race, but we still have this battle for the lead going on through Parabolica, now up in towards the hairpin. Michael Simon's up in 2nd place, and he's ahead of John Chico. That was quick. Are they going to go 3 wide towards the hairpin? No, Tomo Ventura has just about enough of a lead, but once again, Michael Simon and John Chico side by side through the hairpin, and they're going to make more contact through the hairpin on the first lap.
Wow, what an opening first few corners. A big incident at the back of the field. And the 2 Hondas, I thought they just made it through there, Dane. But Michael Simon, after an electric start, falls right down through the order. Oh, wow. I mean, this is one of the dangers of the reverse grid races, where you've got the faster guys coming through and they get almost a bit desperate, a bit too excited in these opening laps. Having said that, Ruben Chachvili, he's had a great start, 5 places already into 5th, our race 1 winner.
He got massively held up as well with that huge incident, and he had to go all the way offline really to make it work. So he got held up quite a bit, probably even could have been a bit further up the field. He's going to try and make a little bit of a lunge there now. They're just behind as he in that high end, they're trying to make some things happen. But Tomo Ventura out in front, 1.5 second gap there, set to 1:59.0 for the first lap of the race. As they make their way through turn 1, look at the speed from Ruben Chachvili. He's going to make 2 places up here almost. He gets boxed in though, in towards turn number 2. And now trying to make something happen, just can't get a break. And there it is, down the inside of turn 2. He just follows the 46 of Lior Levis Salui. But he can't quite make it work there. He just got boxed in. He had so much speed coming off of turn number 1.
He did, and that's just getting boxed in was what prevented him to make any progress. Let's see what he's going to do down into the hairpin. We're going to have 3 wide once again, Dave. We've seen before. This never normally ends well, but amazingly, I think they've all nearly all made it through. As you see Mechlem just coming through, he's had an absolutely astounding start, up 12 places so far into 9th.
Just dropping back down to 10th now through the hairpin. But yeah, he was one of the drivers that was caught up in that big incident. Hence the little bit of a gap between the two of them, between the them and the cars up here in front. This lead group really lucky to be able to make it through there without too much in terms of damage, but the cars behind maybe not so lucky. But Mechlem taking advantage of all of that, started right near the back, of course, had that big incident on the second lap of the first race. As we take a look now, and that's Ruben Chachishvili up the inside into 3rd position. He'll have his eyes firmly set on the Honda of John Chico just up in front as they make their way through the final couple of corners. Once again, they're going to finish lap number 2. 4 minutes down also in this race, and he's already up into the 3rd position. I mean, he's done a brilliant job after starting at 10th, that's for sure.
Oh, he has epic. We see a replay of the start. Wow. 4 into 1 does not go, and as they were all bouncing around off one another, that's what created the further contact, and so many drivers caught up in it. We had 5 back to the pit stain. We had who was in there? Mazzari, Malkov, Galili, Gabay and Barber all caught up and having to head back to the pits, and they've only just got going again. That's really put them well down off the pace. They're now 2 laps down.
Oh, here we go. Is that going to be a send for the race lead? It is. It's John Chico up the inside of Tomo Ventura. And he's going to get it stopped. He's going to get the move on the exit. Look at that. Brilliant exit speed on the inside. They're still going to be side by side, heading up in towards the Mercedes arena. John Chico, we've seen him on the inside on this right-hander. Will gain a bit of speed, but will he be able to hold off with a send down the inside coming from Tomo Ventura? It's not. He's going to file into 2nd place. But now look at the gap between the leaders. These lead 2 and Ruben Chachishvili. It's 0.3 of a second. He's right up there. I would not be surprised to see him leading this race within the next couple of laps.
No, I definitely wouldn't. These 2 need to be careful with how much they are battling, because Chachishvili, you know full well, he's already plotting his move as where he can take control of this race. Now. Well, can Ventura hold around as well? Somehow he holds on round the outside there, and Chachishvili maybe just electing to play it a bit safe in this early stages. I mean, we're only a third of the way through the race too here. There's still plenty more opportunities and maybe safer places to get the move done.
Oh! He's managed to squeeze into a gap around the outside of the final corner just on the exit. No idea where he found that gap from, but that gap closed immediately and he gets forced out onto the grass, has to back out of that one. John Chico, he did a very clever thing there. He wasn't just battling and making a move for the lead. He was putting a car between him and Chachishvili. And that is just about the smartest thing you can do on the circuit at the moment. As you've got about 9 minutes left, you need every possible opportunity to make a bit of a gap between yourself and Chachishvili. And if Tomo Ventura is going to hold him up for a bit, which might well happen, they're going to go side by side into the hairpin. John Chico can gain a small advantage, a couple seconds, that's all he needs. They're going to contact, he's going to turn around, and Tomo Ventura going to defend the inside. There wasn't the space to do it. Somehow he's managed to reverse back onto the circuit without hitting the wall. The Chachishvili up into 2nd place, probably going to have a bit of damage, and now they're going to go side by side with Salui as Chico runs away with the race lead. What is going on here?
Well, it's been manic and mayhem as well. Chachishvili's going to have the inside line here, and this is surely going to, well, I was going to say surely it's going to be 2nd place. Sir Louis just runs in a bit too deep and has somehow held on to that 2nd place, Dane. I'm not too sure how he's managed it, but this is surely going to be Chachishvili's chance now back up the inside.
The switchback working so well in these touring cars. We're going to see it again here. So he just actually has quite a bit of exit speed, not close enough to make it send into this long left-hander. It just feels like it goes on forever and you can barely get the power down for ages. It's one of the more frustrating corner exits of any corner. As we're going to have a replay now of what's going on with Tomo Ventura. Just have a replay of what's happened here.
Oh no, he's got had contact made with him on the entry there. A little bit of the innocent bystander. He's lost 2 more places. I think it was Abramov. It's the car that was Ventura. That must have been just after his previous incident with Chachishvili.
Yeah, but I think it was just him getting back going again because, like I said, he somehow managed to engage reverse and reverse his way back out of the wall. He found some grip on iRacing's grass that should not exist, and just reverse back onto the circuit whilst going and spinning off there. One of the big benefits of these front-wheel drive traction touring cars is they have traction for days, and he found some of that, and that's really helped him keep the car out of the barrier. Not entirely sure what happened there right as that incident started to unfold. I think he just went to cover off the inside, maybe forced Chatterjee into a move. What is this? Tal Stern, big send up the inside, and someone was already there on the apex going very slowly, and he just collected him on the apex. Huge contact there. I think we might have had just another driver have to retire back to the pit lane.
Well, it was a bold move, and nearly came off for him as well. That was the crazy thing. I mean, it was a big lunge, but Tal Stern, I mean, still 4th in class, so still not having the worst of races, and up 7 places. But Amir Mushalam, wow, just goes from strength to strength in the 777 Honda Civic Type R. Now up a whopping 16 places to P5.
Absolutely insane result for him, considering that huge contact at the beginning. Amir, the league's founder, of course, all those a couple of years ago now, doing fantastic things for the iRacing Israel community. Now running up in 3rd place. He's always there or thereabouts. It was very sad to see him get taken out at the beginning of that 2nd race, just a huge contact into the hairpin. But up into what is now 3rd position in class, making his way through turns 3 and 4. A little bit of a gap in front and behind, so not too much in the terms of on-track action for him. Hopefully for him, we can have a couple of minutes of peace after what's been a couple of chaotic races for him.
They're just having a bit of a look at the timing, you see. So Cheshire really getting the hammer down right now. 9/10 quicker nearly than the next fastest lap of the race. Sorry, no, just a little bit slower than the fastest lap of the race. But crucially, it took a whopping 6 attempts out of Chico on the last lap alone. And that gap is now down to 1.1 seconds. It was up around about 2.4. So Cheshire really getting a move on right now, and knows that as we enter into this last third of the race, time's running out, and oh, the spinners in the background there. I just managed to catch in the corner. I'm not too sure who was caught up in that one, Dane. I think Mizari was potentially one of them, but there was 3 cars all tied up as they came into the Mercedes arena.
I saw Baba off the circuit, and I also saw Michael Simon off the circuit, and they've all just gone down into the pit lane. Whoa, what has happened here? There's more chaos going on as they make their way into, what is that, into the Mercedes arena, it looks like. What has happened there? I think we just caught the middle of that. Yeah, there was an incident blocking the circuit. There's another incident now. One good thing about the touring cars is that once they get a bit sideways, just floor the gas, and they're going to straighten up for you. A lot easier than trying to catch a slide on any of the other cars on iRacing. But that was another bit of contact made into the final couple of corners. Drivers know they've only got 3.5 minutes left. That's only a couple laps. They've got to make their moves now, and maybe a couple of drivers getting a little bit desperate.
It certainly seems that way, and I think we're going to see another big lunge here, or maybe not. It's just to stay where they are, but here we go. 3 attempts in it now for the lead. Chashishvili, that is all the gap is, and well, trying his best to distract Chico into Spitzker. Surely this is not, it's going to be when, not if, he takes the lead.
It depends. We've seen John Chico's defense already up against Michael Simon. He really does go hard on the defensive. He's going to stay to the left-hand side of the circuit, the right-hand side on our screens, and Ruben Chachashvili wasn't expecting that. He's going to make his way all the way to the outside, try and get a cutback. Is he going to be able to make a little bit of an overlap? I think he just about has it. He's going to get on the brakes now and try and get another switchback. One of the best sections of racetrack for overtaking, because there's so many different ways you can do it there. John Chico still in front. Obviously, we've seen Ruben Chachashvili. He's been making moves on almost every single corner on the circuit. He has the pace to do it, but he doesn't have the time. Time is running out at a rapid rate.
And let's not forget, the more these two keep battling, that's going to bring third place right into it. And we've now got 1 point, well, actually just literally a second now, covering our top 3. This could be a really entertaining final lap. I mean, we've still got 2 laps left to go.
Yeah. They just about made it in time. I think 10 seconds or so was the difference. A couple seconds later, and that would have been Barney waving the white flag. So it looks like we've had a bit of chaos back in the background. John Chico weaving a little bit in the braking zone and going to the inside. And here goes Ruben Chachishvili around the outside. They're going to make a little bit of contact through turn number 2. And now into turn 3, Chachishvili, this is the closest he's been. He's basically pushing John Chico around the circuit, and almost another bit of contact made there, trying to force his way through. You almost had a repeat of what happened with Tomo Ventura earlier on in the race, but look at that. Whoa, what happened to your 1 second gap? It's 4 tenths now, and look at this, Chachishvili. He's under pressure from Salui. John Chico's going to run away with the race, leading towards the hairpin. They're going side by side just behind him for second and third, and Salui up the inside. He's going to make it stick, is he? No, Chachishvili's on the inside. He's going to get a better exit. They're still side by side behind, and John Chico struggling to pull away. Almost contact being made as they head into the Mercedes arena.
Chachishvili could well end up losing a place here after looking like he was on to the attack into Chico, and there's contact. But they make it through, Dane, amazingly, and Chachishvili, by keeping his car alongside, means he's going to keep hold of that place for now. But I don't know which way to call this. This could go absolutely any way. I mean, Chico, he's managed to pull out a bit further gap. That gap's now out to 6 tenths of a second as they come into the arena. Hold tight for the last lap, I think, is the only way to describe this one.
Yeah, that gap between them is 6 tenths of a second as they make their way through the final couple of corners now. What's the gap? 5 tenths of a second. He's closing at a rapid rate. Now out through the exact final corner, and it's again 5 tenths of a second. You can see just about half a second separating them. And all the way over into the grass and the runoff. Bit of gravel in there as well from Ruben Chachishvili. Going to lose a bit of momentum, but this is where he has a huge advantage. Through turn 1, look at that gap, 3 tenths of a second. He's gained 2 tenths just through that corner. This is going to be it, the most crucial part of the circuit now. The exit from turn number 2. He fakes the dive down the inside. John Chico's taking a tighter line. Oh, huge contact there. And it looks like Salui has just smashed into the side of Chachishvili. Chachishvili, has he been disqualified?
I think he has. He is out. He is gone. I think that was the incident that pushed him over the edge in terms of the amount of incident points they had, and what looked like a potential 2 wins from 2 here in Germany. And he's out in race 2.
The incident limit on the session, it is a strict incident limit. And it's 17x, and we've seen Chachishvili involved in quite a few contacts already in this race. Remember, Tomo Ventura, the other contact that he had with Salui, a bit of contact with John Chico, and now here, huge lunge up the inside. That was never going to work. And there, boom, away he goes. Car disappears. That's a black flag with a white cross down the middle. And he's out of the race. Coming through the final couple of corners now, it's a 2-second gap between Chico and Salui, because to look at the damage along the left side of the car, and not surprising to see all that damage on the car. And Chico, after having defended for his life for the last couple of laps, well, he has his job done for him by the driver in 3rd position. And Chico coming around the final couple of corners now, he's going to get a race win on his hands.
Well, coming into this last lap, Dane, I did not know what to expect, but I certainly didn't expect that one, as Chico now has a relatively easy last half of the final lap.
Absolutely brilliant stuff from John Chico. Really took advantage of all the incidents at the beginning of the race and his reverse grid starting position. He's going to take the win in round number 4 of the iRacing Israel League's 7th season in the touring cars. And amateur class, Zubrev, 3rd place overall as well, though, mind you. So very good position for him in that number 30 car, as he wins in the amateur class as well. Yossi Gabai not doing too badly either, despite having to go into the pit lane. He was involved in that lap 1, turn 1 incident. Ariota Bush coming around the final couple of corners now. He's in 9th place overall, with Leon Portman just behind. They're going to round out the top 10 overall. As what's happened there? Bit of contact made after the line. Not sure what happened there. Looks like maybe one driver braked and one driver was just pulling off to the side, and maybe there was just a bit of a miscommunication there. But a bit of contact after the line never really hurt anybody. as we're just waiting for one more driver, Tomo Ventura, to cross the line. And really unfortunate race for Tomo Ventura. You can see him just making his way through the final couple of corners now. And yeah, he was looking to be on for possibly a podium up there. Really, really competitive. Led the race for a few laps as well. But that contact with Riven Chachishvili, well, it seems to have ended both of their races. Because Chachishvili, with that disqualification, puts him back down to 13th position. Wow.
I think nobody, of all the things, you know, coming into this race meeting, that was one thing we definitely didn't expect to see. I mean, one big shout out has got to go to 4th place driver, Amir Meshalam.
Oh, yeah.
17 places. Wow, amazing race. Picked his way through all of the carnage was happening in front of him, but you've got to be there to take these opportunities, and he definitely took them with both hands with a firm grip.
Absolutely. Let's just take a quick rundown of your feature race results then. Round number 4 of the season. John Chico, absolutely brilliant job to hold off from the Riven Chachishvili just behind him on the last couple of laps. Takes the win by around 0.8 of a second, but that gap was probably around 2 seconds before he slowed down across the line. Leo Levi Salui in 2nd place ended up taking Riven Chachishvili out of the race. Will we see some repercussions after the race from the stewards? We'll have to wait and see on that one. Winning in the AM category, Mark Zubarev, also taking 3rd place overall. Brilliant drive from him. Just a couple tenths of second behind as well. Third place in the pro category and 4th place overall for Amir Meshalam, who we just talked about. 17 positions gained after not the greatest result in race number 1. Talstern in 5th position with Ida Isaac, Danny Abmarov and Zvi Lachetz making their way into 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th in the AM category, with Ariel Debush and Leon Portman rounding up the top 10 overall. Draw last in 11th, then with Tomo Ventura in 12th, making the final positions that finish on the lead lap. Riven Chachishvili, of course, getting disqualified on the final lap. He finishes in 13th overall, but yeah, really controversial end to the race there. Could have possibly had his eye on a race win, and obviously winning race number 3 as well. Ophimus in 14th, Yaroslav Markov in 15th, Yossi Gabai and Bertie Galili all making their way into the lower end of the top 20. Just very unfortunate stuff for them. All of them caught up in that first lap 1, turn 1 incident. That was a huge wreck at the beginning of that race. Michael Simon in 18th, bit of an odd one for him and Nadav Yaron as well. They were caught up in a bit of an odd one along with Nir Mizrahi. Not entirely sure what happened there. A bit of an incident and then some sort of pile-up happening after the hairpin a couple of laps before the end. Sion Baba and Madi Bakar rounding out the 21st and 22nd positions. Unfortunately, neither of them able to finish the race. What? Just flat-out action throughout there. We did not have a dull moment in either of the races there, Tim.
No, we didn't. I mean, sprint races do normally bring lots of action. Having said that, you know, once the field starts to spread out, things do tend to calm down, but this didn't, from the green flag dropping and heading off the grid right the way through to the checkered flag in both races, with some big stories really shaping the results in both of the races. I mean, as I said before, I mean, Chachishvili, we never saw him finishing outside the top 10 in either of the races. But however, that disqualification putting him right down. As I mentioned, Amir Meshalam, that great result from him in race 1. Baba having an incredibly strong race 2. But I think Chico is definitely going to be one of the happiest drivers coming away from Germany with that race victory in race 2.
Yeah, absolutely. And really unfortunate to see from Chachishvili because he had so much pace in today's event. So not really surprising. Obviously taking the championship last season in the Radicals, just proving himself to be really quick since he joined the series back when they were doing the Porsche Cup back in season 3. It's a really long time that he's been with the group. And yeah, unfortunately, 13th position only for him. But taking the race win in race number 1, a little bit of a consolation there for him. And just having a look in the sea, what are we going to for the next round of the championship in 2 weeks' time? Road America. If we thought the straight here at Hockenheimring was going to be a good race with that straight, we've got 2 of them at Road America and quite a few corners in the midfield and the infield of that circuit, Tim, where you can see some good switchbacks and some good batting going on.
Of course, we've got the through the kink as well, out of the carousel. Another high-speed section of the circuit with plenty of big braking areas. I think it's, well, even if it's half as good as what we've seen at Hockenheimring here today, it's going to be an absolutely amazing race. This has got, Road America's got bigger braking areas, more top speed. There's going to be drafting as well. It could go absolutely any way, and all it takes is one little mistake, and we've seen it here from today. Big incidents. We do have a bit more of a larger runoff area generally at Road America compared to Hockenheimring, so that may well help if there is an incident further towards the front of the field, like we've seen in race 1 and race 2 here. However, I don't want to place any bets because it could go absolutely anywhere, and it's going to take some, big moments, some bravery as well, some plenty of commitment to get moves done. And I can't wait for 2 weeks' time already. I'm a bit disappointed we have to wait 14 days.
That all went way too quickly. The 15-minute races, they do give
Oh, it
us some
did.
fantastic action, but stick a third one on the end. Just you can't get enough of this iRacing Israel League action. The driver's doing a fantastic job, as always. Just a little heads up as to what we've got going on Apex Racing TV. We've got the ARL Mazda Cup going on right now, their 12th round of the season at Bathurst. That's got to be brilliant as well. Have to tune in after this. Then coming up later tonight, we've got Rickmotech Classic Sprint Series round 9 of their championship at Watkins Glen. Then tomorrow evening, ARL GT3 Trophy at Daytona, followed by Ray Esports Racing League round 6 for their championship at Road America. So make sure you do hit that subscribe button if you did enjoy this, and leave a like on this live stream as well. That way you never miss any of our upcoming broadcasts. Well, thank you so much everybody for watching. I've been Dane Baird with Tim Cox alongside John Robertson up in the production booth, controlling all the cameras and the overlay as well. And we'll see you all in 2 weeks' time at Road America.